Congressman Mike Waltz joins us live this morning on WNDB. Congressman, good morning. A lot of material to cover. First, I shared with Jarrett Clifton, our producer, that Congress desperately needs to pass more CARES Act money. Is it not true, Congressman, that Nancy Pelosi thought it was more important to pass a big cat bill than to pass this legislation to put money into the hands of Americans?
Well, to your point on the more CARES Act money, that a lot of that leftover money is still sitting there, Mark. That's what has me so furious. $138 billion unused from the PPP program is sitting in the Treasury. We've tried 19 times to get Pelosi to authorize businesses to get another loan, just to get another bite at the apple, because this has gone on much longer than anybody originally envisioned, and she refuses to do it. Yet we've had a marijuana bill, we've had a big cat bill, and I kid you not, 2 days ago we voted on a ceiling fan regulation bill. That's what we're doing up here in Congress, rather than a simple authorization allow businesses and others to get more help. And I'm just apoplectic about it.
Turning to the renaming of Patrick Air Force Base and Cape Canaveral Station, let's talk about this as it brings SPACECOM to Florida.
Well, there's a half dozen bases, as the new branch of the military, the Space Force, stands up that are becoming Space Force bases. Patrick's one of them. Florida's a finalist. They're doing the Air Force is doing site visits right now to determine the final selection for the 4-star Space Command. And myself, Senator Rubio, Governor DeSantis, we've talked to the Pentagon, talked to the White House. We're making the case for Florida. I think we have a very strong one.
And I thought it was neat that they renamed these places. Titles a little longer, but still. I think this was announced by Vice President Pence. Am I correct?
That's right. The president and the vice president stood up, which had actually been disbanded by the Obama administration, the National Space Council. They just had their meeting in Cape Canaveral, and they used that as an opportunity for the base renaming. Folks don't realize how many parts of our government have equities up in space, weather, agriculture, homeland security, our banking and financial systems, and of course our military. I mean, everything is dependent on what we have up there, and it all has to be coordinated. That's what the Space Council is doing. That's what the Space Force will be defending.
Okay, let's turn to one of your colleagues, Representative Swalwell. I watched yesterday as Nancy Pelosi was asked the question by the press, aren't you concerned about security matters with China, with this dalliance that Swalwell had with this Chinese spy, she's like 22 years old? I am astonished. If it had been Trump Jr. mentioned his name, they would have been all over it. But she's giving Swalwell a pass?
Well, they were all over it, Mark. Trump Jr. was deposed for 30 hours by the Department of Justice with the Russia. 4 years of that nonsense. That was proven not to be true. And Swalwell is one of the loudest one. He's Schiff's right-hand man on the Intelligence Committee that was pounding the table about that, only to come to find out that we had some possible very serious Chinese influence. Let me just say, Mark, that really what you're seeing with Swalwell, with Hunter Biden and other cases, the Harvard University professor that was arrested for giving him information, it is the tip of the iceberg, Mark. I spent the last year on the China task force. It is in academia, it's in journalism, it's in research institutions, it's in our politics. It's by far the largest, most sophisticated influence campaign the Chinese Communist government have going on that we've ever seen. But in the case of Swalwell, he's been sitting on the most sensitive committee in Congress, the Intelligence Oversight Committee, with oversight of NSA, the CIA, and others. A lot of questions to be asked. What Pelosi knew, why she put him on there, how long he's been doing this, what his true relationship was, and what others are compromised. Another representative, Ro Khanna, is on the Armed Services Committee, has been calling for defunding our nuclear arsenal. He was also influenced by this same Chinese operative. So more to follow here, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
This is just unbelievable. At a time in which China is, planting a flag on the moon, almost ready to pick a fight because, we're standing up for Taiwan, military exercises. They're a bigger threat than Russia, are they not?
By far, Mark, this is I am confident this is the most serious threat we've ever faced. Listen to President Xi's speeches where he talks about the China dream not dominating the world rather than the American dream of freedom and democracy. Their Navy is larger than ours. They're stealing their way to the top. They just launched a new stealth fighter that is a mirror image of ours. It's very serious, and we need to wake up to it, and I think the Democrats are asleep at the switch.
Let me pivot to the president and ask you. You are very clear in your defense of the president, saying he deserves to stay in court with the Supreme Court. I guess we'll find out today. Your thoughts?
Well, I've had it with the mainstream media and others saying this is somehow subverting democracy. This is democracy. Our court system is democracy, and when you have literally dozens of people in sworn testimony with threat of perjury, many of them registered independents, saying they saw these anomalies. When you have a state Supreme Court in Pennsylvania overruling its legislature in how we vote, when you have the Secretary of State in Georgia very questionably entering in a consent decree with the Democratic Party over the top of its legislature, those are serious constitutional issues. I encourage everyone to read the Texas case that is now on the docket in the Supreme Court, and I was proud to join my colleagues in signing that amicus brief. And I hope the Supreme Court hears it. There's some very, the Equal Protection Clause, the 14th Amendment, the Electors Clause. Either, as the brief says, either the Constitution is a real living document or it's a piece of paper in our archives. And I certainly think it's the former, not the latter.
Got about 30 seconds just to sort of circle back. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi is going to have you working through Christmas because she won't budge and release this money?
Well, what's so just jaw-dropping is she admitted, pull the tape from last Friday, that the reason she didn't negotiate all summer and all fall on her $4 trillion progressive wish list, and she wouldn't negotiate with us because she was waiting on a new president. So that's just politics at its worst while people are suffering. And she admitted it. She finally started negotiating and now is going to drag this through the holidays when people could have had that help with leftover money that was passed in the spring. It's horrible. And I look forward to getting the majority and sending her back to California one day.
Lots of information. Yes, sir. Lots of information from Congressman Mike Waltz. Thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you for standing up for all of us here in the United States. And
absolutely, Mark. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you, sir.